Welcome back, and today, as you can see, we're looking at a tent, and that tent is the Wild Country Helm 1. And this is the first time I've pitched this tent. This is a new addition to the fleet. It's just a quick look round it, really. You have to excuse the road noise, we are near the road. And also, as you can see, we haven't actually fixed the guy lines. As you can see with this one, I've gone for the optional footprint, which I think is a great idea, as it just protects the porch area of your tent. You can hear a cockerel, by the way, and it's not actually morning. As you can see, there's a cargo net, storage net, at the top of the tent. Here we have an area which can be both open for ventilation with a nice mesh screen, and also, if we undo the zip, you will see a spacious area on the outside of the inner, and it actually looks as big as the opening where you come in and out of the tent. You can see I haven't attached the footprint, and that should go across there, and I haven't done that. Also, there's a storage area here at the foot end of the tent, and there's also a little pocket here as well, which is handy for putting the inner in when you open it. Moving to the top of the tent, you've got another mesh panel here. This is obviously a white, no CM type of material. The inner is held to the outer with toggles, which you may be able to see just through there. So you can pitch this fly first. And if we move to the top, you can just see a little hook here to hang your lantern or torch. The fly sheet on this particular model, according to the manufacturers, is 4,000 millimeter hydrostatic head, and the ground sheet is supposed to be 6,000 millimeter hydrostatic head. Double tape seams, alloy poles on the outside, pre-bent in the top. There's only two, one horizontal, one vertical. Very quick and very easy to pitch. You can do it in about 5 minutes. Guy lines, which I said earlier I haven't attached. This part is luminous, and I believe also the guy lines themselves have reflective properties to them as well. There's two vents. This one on the opposite side of the entrance. It has a metal wire here to keep the vent open and let the ventilation in. The other vent is here on the main entrance. Similar thing. You've got a couple of clips that go onto the side poles. Poles are coloured coded, as are the sleeves. You know, it's pretty impossible to pitch this incorrectly. Another tie on the back. The pegs are really nice, lightweight aluminium. They don't hurt your hand when you put them in. They got the logo on the side. I think you could bend them if you were quite aggressive with them, but certainly here, soft ground, they're no problem at all. They're easy to put in and out. As for space, you can see my feet down the end. I'm 5'10", and I can only just lay out in this tent without my head touching the top or my feet touching the bottom. And that's an issue I've had with other tents. They are a bit too small for me, and I like to be able to lay out without touching the top or the bottom. So this for me is just long enough. You haven't got much room to spare above your head or your feet at 5'10", but it is possible. The roof on this actually pitches up quite steeply, and that's probably why you've got the extra clearance. One thing I do really like is the head height in this Helm 1. As you can see, as I said, I'm 5'10", and here's the top where your torch goes or your lantern, and you can see there's a good bit of space there. There's probably, I don't know, 3 inches above my head, and this is the first tent I've had that actually gives me headroom where I can actually sit up as I am now with my legs folded, and there is enough room for me. And that is one of the reasons why I went for this tent. My last tent was a Scorpion 2, and as much as I love the tent, it's just too small for me in the length. It tapers down really sharply at the foot end, and your feet are always touching the bottom of the inner, and also my head's always touching the top, and I didn't like it. As you can see, this is a side porch, and for me there's plenty of room. Also, as you can see, there is a little bit more of a bathtub design going on here. My only comparisons are to the Vango Banshee, and I have a couple of Scorpion tents, and it doesn't come up as high as the Scorpion, but again, your bathtub, you've got to be looking at a couple of inches all the way around. I was looking at the Zephyros 1, as I see that's a very popular tent, but some of the criticisms were with that. There is no bathtub design on the floor. You haven't got any storage nets inside. There's nowhere to hang your light. And another issue with that tent as well was there was nowhere to actually tie up the fly. And on here, as you can clearly see, there is. So to me, this seems to have ticked all the boxes that the Zephyros didn't. Obviously, by having more room on the head, it's going to be more susceptible to winds, as it's not such a low profile as the Zephyros 1. But this was a trade-off that I was willing to take. I really wanted a bit more comfort, something with more head height, more length, and all the little things inside that the Zephyros 1 doesn't have. As far as quality goes, we'll have to see. Again, as I said, I can only compare this really to my 2 Scorpion tents and my Vango. And as you probably know, the Scorpions and the Vango, they have a hydrostatic head of 5,000, and this is only 4. So we'll have to see how it does in the rain. As far as quality goes, again, comparing it to Snugpack, the quality isn't as good. That's obvious. The zips are okay, but they're not YKK quality zips. Everything on it just feels a little bit not as good quality. I'm not saying it's poor, but it just doesn't feel like a high-end quality tent, and I guess the price reflects that. Another thing that I really needed a tent to have was the ability to take my rucksack inside without any problem. And as you can see here, I've got my Snugpack Rocket Pack 70 litre, and it takes it in here absolutely no problem at all. It's sticking out the side a little bit, but when we come inside, it's clearly not encroaching on the inner area, which is important, so I can keep all my kit dry and have a cook up as well when it's raining. So for me, this tent ticks all the boxes. I would have liked the quality to have been a bit better, but again, I'm not saying it's a bad tent by any means. It certainly has all the features in it that I wanted, and that the Zephyros 1 doesn't. But how it would perform in high wind and rain remains to be seen. There are some videos on YouTube of this tent, and you know, you can make your own mind up. But I took a gamble and I thought it's probably going to be good enough for my needs. Here are the zips, by the way. They're up here. You know, they're not bad. Nice little yellow toggles on the end. It's certainly not bad by any means, but my comparison again is to the Snug Pack. So as a standalone tent, if you were buying this for the first time, I think it's a nice tent and you'd be happy with it. I know this isn't the best spot because I haven't got a lot of room in this area, but I like to come to this spot because it's quite secluded. It's close to a road, but it's very hard to get, and you're surrounded by all this gorse, which may deter some people from trying to get here. I believe the weight of this, as by Wild Country, is 1.87 kilos, and I put it on my scales at home and it came in at 1.8 kilos. So again, it's not too bad. See, I use the Snug Pack Ionosphere as a bivvy camp shelter, bivvy tent shelter, wild camp, and that comes in at 1.6. So this is only 200 or 300 grams more, but this is like a palace compared to that. You know, you've got a porch, you've got the headroom, you've got the length, and this tent, you know, is I'm really pleased with it so far. My initial impressions are great. Like I say, it's not been field tested. But just to give you a walk around at the moment, I'm very happy with it. Especially if you can get it for a good price, then it is a good buy if you want to go camping and you want a little bit of space. Here's a shot from the inside, looking down at the porch. And yeah, it's quite spacious. Again, I can only compare it to my Banshee. And it looks similar. And you can also clearly see here, I'll get it in a shot, here's my 70-litre rucksack. Although it's not fully laden right now because I've taken the tent out and all my kit, you know, there's more than enough room to get that in here. I've now closed the inner up, and as you can see, you've got this 3/4 mesh going on, and you can clearly see out there, if I focus, there's my rucksack, my 70-litre, and there's more than enough room. So at the moment I am very happy. As far as width as well, there's plenty of room in here. You can see my feet together, and you know, there's space either side to put bits and pieces. You could probably get your boots in there. I go around to the head end, and yeah, there isn't much more to show. I'm not doing a camp today. This is just to trying out the tent for the first time. Yeah, just a couple of points to clarify. First of all, you know, when I said the quality isn't as good as my Snug Pack, that's kind of my reference point, is the Snug Pack. And I'm not saying this tent is bad quality. I think it's acceptable. It's okay. You might even say it's good. But after owning a couple of Snug Packs, I'm just noticing the quality isn't as good. The alloy pearls, they just don't feel as good and as premium in the hand. The materials just don't feel as premium. The fly sheet, the ground sheet, the mesh, you know, it all seems like it's been finished good, but just not as good as the Snug Pack. So if that's just a reference point to someone watching this, you know, I'm not saying it's bad at all. I think it's a nice tent, but you do notice the quality if you've had something obviously which is better. So but I think this is fine. You see people on YouTube who have used this in the Lake District, and there's even one video of some guy in 50-mile-an-hour winds, and there's snow everywhere and blowing a gale, and it looks like it performs very well. There's not many reviews online I've noticed about this tent, even though it came out in 2017, and there aren't that many videos either. But the other point as well, the only gripe at the moment, I do wish this was longer in length. This 3/4 mat that I brought out today just to trial is 3 centimeters deep. Now when I'm laying on that, I can just about lay flat at 5'10". I can just about lay flat, and my toes are only just not touching the end of the inner, and my head is only just not touching the head of the inner. But that is it. There is absolutely no room to spare. And I don't think I'm tall, not really. I don't think 5'10" is excessively tall, but I really wish this tent had a little bit more on the length. I don't know if I think it's 220 centimeters is what they say, and it's probably right. But like I say, the pitch of the inner, the way that comes down, you know, it's quite a sharp angle. So I think they've tried to optimize the headroom, but for me, I wish it was just a little bit longer, and that's the only gripe. But it's okay. It's more than the Scorpion. The Banshee, I had the same problem. My head was touching the liner, and that used to sag. This doesn't sag. This is set out quite taut. So I don't think that's down to me. But overall, first impressions are, I like it. It's nice. It does everything I want it to do. I've got room for my pack. I've got head height. I've got more length than the Scorpion 2, and that's definite. So I like the design, and we'll see how it gets on as and when we use it. So as an initial first look, these are just my thoughts and views at this time.